Good. Today I'm here to talk about the different meanings of the HTTP status codes like 401 or 404, 403. Yeah, I'm sure you're wondering what they're all about, so I'm here to explain it. But first, what are they? They're called HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and they're basically how computers talk to each other and to servers. There are five different types. 1xx, 2xx, and 3xx. XX aren't shown. It's that say the task is done to the other computers. Although 4xx and 5xx series codes are the error codes. And so first, the 100 series codes, they basically say that the request has been received by the server and is being processed. So the first one is the 100 continue code, which means that the server has received the message and the computer can continue. And the 101 switching protocols, which means like the server has been asked to switch protocols by the computer and it's agreed. 102 is processing. It's web app, basically like use for edited like server has received a request and is processing it, but no response available right now. WebDAV is basically like the user can edit on the server directly. 103 is early hint. It just means it used to return some response before the final message. Basically like they return some things before the actual message is returned. And for the 200 series codes, it means the request has been received and is accepted by the server. So the first one is the 200 OK, which means the request by the computer has been successfully completed. And 201 is created, which means like the client wanted to make something new and the server has done it. And to accept it, it means like the request has been accepted for processing, but like processing may or may not be finished. And 203 is non-authoritative information, which means like the server has received the 200 OK from before and it's returning like a modified version of what it was sent. And then 204 is no content, which means the server has processed the request and isn't returning anything. Yeah, 205 is reset content, which means the server has processed the request and has asked whoever requested to reset the doc view and isn't returning anything. Basically, like the content of what is sent has been reset. 206 is partial content, which means the server is delivering parts of resource per request of client. And 207 is multi-status. It's using WebDAV. It can be like many things depending on what kind of requests that were made. 208 is already reported, which means members, parts of the request have already been done and it's not going to be included again. 226 it means I am used. It means the server has fulfilled the request, updated it and returned it. Now for the 300 series codes, it means that the request is being redirected to someplace else. So the 300 is basically multiple choice, which means like the server is offering multiple choices for the client to pick from. Like this is where you can choose like the file format to open something in like PDF or doc. And tier 1 is moved permanently, so whatever you clicked on, the target of the link has been moved to somewhere else. So the 2 is found, which means that like the resource like whatever you're looking for isn't here, but it is another URL which should be shown. And then 3 is the other, and which means the server has targeted resource and responded with a different method than what it targeted with. And the 304 is not modified, which means just to indicate that whatever it was hasn't been modified. And the 307 is a temporary redirect, which means the server is targeted a resource and responding with the same method similar to the 303 from before. And 308 is the permanent redirect, which means all the current and all future requests should be directed to someplace else. So now for the 400 series codes, these are the ones caused by the user using it. So first, the 400 bad request, which means the server can't process the request because like it was sent wrong by the client, by the user. And for one unauthorized, it means the client must has like prove the admin for it to get, or they want to get a response. The 402 payments required is basically like saying that the payment is needed. However, this one is rarely used and used differently where it is used. 403 is forbidden, which means like the user isn't allowed to access whatever they're trying to access. So 404 is not found, which means that like the server can't find it or whatever the client wanted. And the 405 is the method not allowed, which means the way the client was asking for the resource isn't supported by the server. And the 406 is not acceptable, which means the server can't find the contents that fits the criteria set by the user. And 407 proxy authentication required, which means authentication is needed by something else. Somebody else needs to like prove that you're the user, the actual person. 408 is a request timeout, which means the connection to the server hasn't been used for a long time, like however much. 409 is WebDAV, using WebDAV, and it's conflict. It basically means like the current request is matching what the current state of the server is. 410 means gone, so like the content is just gone from the server. 411 is length required, which means that how long the content isn't given when it should be. And 412 is a precondition failed, which means the client has stated several preconditions to fulfilling a request which the server doesn't meet. And 413 is content is too large. Basically, the request is larger than the limit set by the server. 414 URI is too long. Things like URI is basically things that help you access other things like URLs and such. Basically, it is used if the request, if the URI that's requested is longer than the server wants to process. 415 is unsupported media type. Basically, like whatever format you're requesting it, something isn't supported by the server. And 416, like the range of things is the range of things by a client can't be fulfilled by the server. Then 415, the expectation failed, meaning like the expectation specified by a client cannot be fulfilled. And 418 is I'm a teapot. It means the server doesn't want to brew coffee with the teapot. And 421 a misdirected request. Basically, like the request was directed to the incorrect server. And 422 is unprocessable content, meaning used in WebDAV. Basically, the request was well formed, but it looked good, but like there are some issues with the how like issues with the writing or the content. 423 is locked, which means like basically like the resource that the user wants is locked. 424 is failed dependency, which means like server request failed because the previous request also failed, also used in WebDAV. And 425 too early. It means that like the server won't processing the request that might be replayed. 426 upgrade required. Basically, like server won't process the request until the client upgrades to another protocol. 428 is a precondition required, which means that like I think the original server needs a request to be conditional. 429 is too many requests, meaning like the user has sent like too many requests in a specified amount of time. And 431 is request header fields too large, which means like the server can't process the request because the header fields are too big for it to process. 451 is unavailable for legal reasons. Exactly what it says. Like the user can't is requesting users that's been banned by the government. 5xx series codes are basically the errors caused by the server. And there's the 500 internal server error. It's like a generic error code. It means that like server encountered an error it can't handle. And 501 is not implemented, which means like the request method isn't supported by the server. 502 bad gateway, which means like while the server is working as a gateway to handle a request, you got an invalid response. Like the response couldn't handle. And the 503 is service unavailable, which means that, like the server isn't available. Like the server can't handle the request yet. And 504 is gateway timeout because it's basically the server can't get a response in time while acting as a gateway. And 505 the HTTP version isn't supported. It's basically like the HTTP that's being used in a request isn't being supported by the server. And 506 is the variant also negotiates, meaning like there's just some internal problems with the internal contradictions within the server. And 507 is used by WebDAV and it's insufficient storage, which means that like the server doesn't have enough storage to fulfill a request. And 508 loop detected, which used in WebDAV, which means that like the server has detected an infinite loop while processing a request. And 510 is not extended, which means the client has an HTTP extension that's not supported by the server. And 511 is network authentication required, which means like the client needs to like get permission so they can access the network. And that's all. Thanks for watching and have a great day.